Today, we've got Faith Ordway and Elle Brooke both joining us, who will fight on January the 14th. Faith, Elle, how are we doing?
I personally am feeling really excited. I just feel like I've put in a lot of time and a lot of work into this, and I feel like you can't get around hard work and dedication. I feel like the only thing I can be is confident. So
That's a great start. Elle, how about yourself?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling good. Like working my ass off in the gym every day. And I've only been to the boxing last weekend where my best friend defended her IBF bantamweight world title. So it's given me all hope and confidence and inspiration really to like get back into it. And yeah, no, I'm so excited for this boxing match.
You are, of course, talking about Ebanie Bridges. We'll start there with you, Elle. Congratulations to Ebanie if you're watching. A hell of a performance. So you're best friends with Ebanie, who, Faith, if you're not aware, as Elle has just told us, world champion boxer. Have you been training with Ebanie, Elle? And if so, how's that dynamic going? How's it working?
Obviously she's had her world title to defend and to concentrate on. But I have sparred with her a lot. And she's going to be free now until my fight, so she can help me out, help all the tips and everything like that. But yeah, she's been so useful in teaching me the world of boxing. So I'm eternally grateful for her.
Faith, when you hear that Elle's been training with a world champion, current world champion, very regular fighter, we saw her last week. What does that mean to you? Do you take anything from that she's training with such high caliber sparring partners?
Of course, I have respect for it 100%, but it doesn't necessarily like throw me off to any extent, because at my gym, I train out of, I don't know what kind of gym she trains out of, but mine is like a public gym. People can come. So I know it doesn't really seem like intimidating, but my coach has actually trained a lot of, world champions himself. And I've also had some sparring time with some people from my gym that are as well world champion title holders. So, I think that it's a great thing. It's great for both of us to be able to have that kind of people around us so that we can really train. And I guess it doesn't really like throw me off too much. I think it's just more so I'm excited because that means that it's really going to be, to my imagination, like a good fight. So
Faith, just staying with yourself for a moment. It doesn't take long to have a scroll down your social media and just see just how much this means to you. Can you tell us a little bit about why boxing and what you've been into to get yourself from where you were to where you are now?
Yeah, so originally some people have mixed opinions on on the Paul brothers, but really that's where my whole inspiration really started, was because I was good friends with Logan Paul for a while, and I got to go out and see their gym that they had set up in Puerto Rico. And really I got to watch, this was after like Logan's time of doing his stuff, but I got to watch Jake and the way that he was preparing for his fights and everything, and just seeing the dedication that he had and everything that he was putting into it was really inspiring for me. And it really just got the gears turning, because I was like, okay, there's really no female representation right now in the crossover space. So, I just wanted to jump on that opportunity, because I realized, I've always been very much in the fitness space, and I just felt like it fell into my lap at that point, so I just started training, fell in love with the sport, and ever since, I've just been going really hard. So
Elle, what do you know of Faith's training? What do you know of her? What do you know of her as a person?
To be honest, I didn't know much about Faith. I think we're in two completely different. The only thing we have in common is probably TikTok, but two different completely worlds. And when she asked me for the boxing match, I looked into her and I saw that she was going to be having a fight with a previous opponent and everything like that. So I knew she was serious, and I saw that she'd been boxing a lot longer than me. And I was like, do you know what? I want to push myself. I want to do something out of my comfort zone, and I think Faith is definitely that opponent. So I was grateful that she asked me. It took me completely by surprise. I didn't know who she was, and I was like, damn, this guy has so many fucking followers. I was like, what the fuck? But no, I was immediately interested, and here we are now.
Oh, sorry, Faith, I thought you were going to follow up there. I was going to say, Faith, you named
to follow up, yeah, I was just gonna say that like in my comments, that's actually where I discovered Elle, because whenever I was posting about looking for an opponent and like trying to call people out and whatnot, I started realizing in my comments people were like, Elle Brooke, and I'm like, who's that? So then I looked at her page and I saw that she had a fight, and that just kind of sealed the deal for me, because it's like a lot of people I tried reaching out to, I think maybe like 5 or 6 different people, and they didn't want to, just because like they saw that I was in the gym for a little while. So it kind of even the playing field, I feel like, for Elle to have already had a fight set up, because then it's like, you know, she has that experience on me. I personally have not had any fights yet. So
what do you make of Elle's fights? What did you, I mean, I assume you've seen it back. What do you think of it? What problems does she pose for you, come find out?
What I kind of took from what I've seen is, well, I think it's going to be quite a different match, because for one, this is no hate to obviously anybody, but the other girl didn't really seem to put up much of a fight. So I feel like it's going to be completely different. I noticed that Elle was definitely the person who was trying to charge and go in. So I noticed that, but really the other girl didn't really hit her back. So I feel like that's why she was so comfortable charging, because nobody was really putting up too much of a challenge, at least from like a visual perspective. I know it's totally different whenever you're in there, the nerves, all of that. But yeah, that's kind of just like my perspective on things. Is I think that she's got a little edge to her for sure, but I'm not really worried, because I think it's going to be totally different.
Elle, what do you think? What are you expecting come fight night?
I can't find it. It's funny how you just like said about that my last fight, because I find it the most embarrassing thing in the world, and I just know now that I don't even box in 2 months then, and Faith's the perfect opponent because she has been boxing and has that she not a fight experience but time experience, that now that I think that we can create something so big, because we're both so dedicated to the sport, and I think we both have this eagerness to win, and we're not afraid to be here or get hit. So yeah, no, I'm really excited.
One thing that Faith said a moment ago, she used a term which is very interesting when we look at these Misfits cards, is about building into certain spaces. You were in this space, she was in this space. You're coming together now in the Misfits space. And obviously people are going to ask questions about former opponents and about other fighters that they've seen on Misfits cards. What do you guys think about the other fighters that you've seen on Misfits, and do you have targets to try and get those guys in the ring? I know that you're both going to want to say, I'm just focusing on what's in front of me at the moment, and I completely get that. But at the same time, what do you think of the Misfit space, of where this could go when you all want that same goal? You all want to make your own name in this Misfits boxing space.
I mean, there's only been one fight, really. And I think that, unfortunately, the pool of women right now is so small. And I think if both of us can put our heads together and really inspire more influencers to get involved, I think that would be the ideal. Because Astrid's small. I mean, that never happened with me. I think Fangs would be perfect. But again, I know she has previous history with Faith. So yeah, there's a really small pool at the moment.
A bit of bad luck, I think. We've taken a couple of fights. Sorry, Faith, go on.
That confused me. I don't know anything about Astrid, so I don't know where that came from. I am curious though. But aside from that, totally agree with what she's saying. I also watched a little bit of that fight. I believe that was one that was very short-lived, right? Like the opponent kind of just
Astrid and Keeley, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. You know, on Misfits and just in general, what I've seen is it just hasn't been great representation for the female space, because I mean, people already have this stigma around women's boxing, even whenever it comes to some professionals. There's some people like Katie Taylor and so on that people have obviously been able to respect in the professional space, but a lot of times it's just looked at as a joke. You know, you could go through the comments and you see people who are just saying, like piss break fight, like whatever, all of that. And I'm like, okay, you know, I really hate that that's the stigma. And I think that really is the goal, at least for me, and I assume Elle, like on misfits card, just the fact that there's so many eyeballs whenever it comes to this promotion. I think that the goal is to really just change that stigma and to really show, like, yeah, maybe we come from a different space, but that doesn't mean that you can't have an athletic background or that you can't do stuff that is, I guess, out of the ordinary. You know, somebody has to be the first one to really do it. And I've seen a lot of people with a lot of heart that have done it. One of my friends actually just did a fight on another promotion and she won and stuff. And it's just, I think we need to really show more of a show. That's the problem. People can have heart, but they're not putting on a show. And that's what's really important.
Of course, it's all about the show. I mean, we should say it was incredible bad luck for both Fangs and Barbie last time out, and of course AJ Bunker and Carla Howell previously. But let's focus on your fight. Elle, I want to start with you, given you're the experienced one. When round one comes round on fight night, I know you're not going to want to give me too much of the game plan. What do you want to do? What kind of fight is going to play out? Are we going to, you mentioned that you've been boxing a while and Faith has been learning this craft. Do you expect to see a little bit of a cagey start, so to speak, or are you going to look in there and go and put a statement out early doors?
I think on my last fight, I never had a fight before. So, my trainer was like, just get in there, go hard, go first, that kind of thing, because I had never, ever stepped in the ring before. That was my first fight. Whereas this time, take my time. I mean, we've only got 3 2-minute rounds. So it's going to still be extremely fast paced. I think that as soon as you have the first round ticked off, there's a lot less pressure. So obviously the first round is going to be heavy, and consistent, but I don't know what else more you can say. And obviously me and Mark have a good game plan and strategy, and we've been working on different things in the gym, but of course you have to try hard the first round. You want the crowd behind you as well, of course.
Faith, fight or flight kicks in. I think Elle's saying there, it's your first fight. We can practice in the gym, we can get ready, we can work on this jab or this movement or whatever, but ultimately when everyone steps out of the ring and the bell goes, that adrenaline comes in. What do you envisage? Do you think it's going to be a case of, like Elle said, just running forward and just getting in there 100 miles an hour? Do you plan on trying to keep that suppressed and go through what you've learned in the gym, the skill set? What happens?
Personally, I think that I'm pretty prepared for all the different scenarios that could happen. That's what my trainer has taken the time to really practice with me. I've learned things for every different kind of scenario. So really it's just me listening to my coach and being able to act accordingly. I don't think that by any means I will try to, in a way I'll match energy, but if it's in a way of just coming in, charging, and it's adrenaline, throwing all over the place, not my whole thing here is that I want to stick to keeping my form, keeping everything that I've worked on, trained. That's the whole point. I don't want it to come to a point of fight or flight, just swinging for the fences, because I feel like that's where everything gets ruined, because nobody can really see the form that you've worked on, and that's like the whole thing for me is, I've learned to box. I'm a boxer, not as much of a brawler. Of course, I'm prepared for both situations, but the whole point is I want to get out there and I want to make it look like a fight, not a cat fight.
Elle, do you think this is where maybe your experience comes in then? Because Faith obviously has the fitness background, is obviously athletic. She's brought in as much boxing training as she can. But like you say, maybe where you take an edge's experience, is that maybe where that comes in, do you think?
I mean, it's one fight, and it was an opponent it was a last minute opponent over 3 weeks. I don't really feel like it's that much of an extra edge or, that much experience. I think we're both really relatively new to the sport, even though we've been training for a long time. So, even though I have had that one fight under my belt, I wouldn't say that is an extreme advantage. We'll see how it goes.
So what happens between now and fight night? Faith, I want to start with yourself. This is your first camp. This is your first, you've done plenty of fitness things in the past, but this is your first leading up to a fight. What happens? Do you bring in a lot more hard sparring now that we are 4 weeks, I think, ish, 5 weeks away. Do you bring in that hard sparring? Is this where it gets really tough? What you tell me what happens now?
Yeah, so I mean, I personally have a bit to work on. So not only am I getting very, very intense with my sparring, but aside from that, I am also losing the last of my weight because we agreed upon the fact that I would come down in weight considering the height difference so that it wasn't a crazy, you know,
Yeah.
oh, she's massive. And, we wanted it to be more of a fair fight. So I'm halfway there as of right now. And I'm trying to take that at a steady pace because if I peak before the fight, that could be an issue because say I get down to 140 tomorrow. If I were to do that, then maybe, by the time it's fight night, I may just be burnt out. So I'm being very careful with what I'm doing with my diet and how I am losing this weight. But yeah, just a lot of intense cardio, making sure that I'm prepared, well over prepared for sure. Yeah, doing a lot of running and sparring. Those are really my main things. I've spent this whole time practicing my technique to where that's pretty much, muscle memory at this point. Of course, every single day I'm continuing to shadow box, continuing to go through all of my movements. But really, yeah, it's just about getting ready for the real thing, feeling the hits coming at me. And that's how I'm preparing.
Elle, how about yourself? Again, and I completely take on board. It was only one fight, but only one fight means you had only one camp before. So again, this is a little bit of familiarity for you. What happens in between now and January the 14th?
Yeah, well, the complete opposite to Faith in a sense that she has to make weight, which I had to last camp.
Yeah.
Whereas this fight, I'm going to be like 4 or 5 kilos heavier. So that's the difference in that sense. So it's definitely less pressure off me because I've been, I don't know how Faith is feeling through making weight, but it's something that I love food so much and it's something that I really struggled with. So that's definitely less pressure for me. But now it's just the difference of opponent and working on that in the gym. I'm 5'1" and Faith is 5'9". So obviously that's an 8-inch height difference. So it's crazy. And she's a lot heavier than my old opponent as well. She's going to be 8. Sorry?
Nothing. I just thought of something funny. My dad, never mind. Go on.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, so she's taller than me and heavier than, like 8 kilos over my last opponent. So it's different tactics this time, and that's what we've been working on. I'm going to be the smaller fighter. I'm going to be the shorter, the lighter. In a sense, even though I have a fight, she's been boxing a lot longer than me. So, but in a sense, I feel less pressure this time as well because Faith's a lot more famous than me. I'm the hard B-side and I know that, and she has a lot more followers than me, so the pressure is kind of off. It's completely different vibe than it was the last time, so I'm enjoying that.
Is that something that you can work into your game plan, Elle? There's 2 things that you've said there that I want to pick up on. She's cutting weight, and we'll ask Faith at the moment how she's feeling about that. She may not want to tell us too much, but she's cutting weight, therefore the body is going to be a little drained. Secondly, she's got height advantage, which means I guess you may be less likely to try and headhunt if you're reaching up all the time to try and do that. Is it a case of you to really sort of attack that body, and that's maybe where victory lies for you?
Well, I mean, it's, we've been working on going up and down. My last fight, Upon Reflection, if you watched that one, I just went for the head. It was literally just 1-2. So it was like one of the most awful fights ever, but it was literally just the straight one. So we've been working up in the combinations and everything in between, like even defense. I was just walking through those bloody punches. But obviously, Faith is a lot bigger, taller. I don't know if I will be able to walk through those at the same. And also, I'm going to have a lot more power this time because I have that extra weight. I have fluff on me, so I don't think that she would have as much power as maybe in the taller fighter as well, because I'm just going to have so much more muscle being shorter. And even though there's a weight difference, it's not massive.
What do you think, Faith? Is that weight going to be an issue? I mean, is it coming off okay at the moment? Is it hindering at all?
Yeah, it's really not a problem at all because actually for my age and my height and everything, I technically could go down to 128 pounds, at least according to Google. Of course, I would not do that, but really like I've talked to a lot of nutritionists and personal trainers and everything, and they've told me, you know, the 10 pounds, it's not going to be a problem. No big deal. You're still going to be healthy and stuff. So really, I don't see it from that perspective at all. I'm halfway there, and the weight's coming off nicely. You know, I've been taking my time with it, so it's not really like I'm struggling too hard. There was a point where I got stuck at, like, I think it was 147 for a little bit, but I also wasn't going super hard. But now, you know, as I'm getting more intense with all of my training, it's coming off very smoothly. And if anything, I think I'm going to be probably in one of the peak conditions, because 140, if you're thinking, okay, healthy weight for my height and my age, ranges from 128 to, I believe it's 160. 140 is a great in between. And, you know, I'm quite muscular for a girl. So I think if anything, I'm going to be fast. I'm going to be in my peak condition, very strong. You know, I have very good leg muscles, and all of your power really stems from your legs. So I feel good about it.
Final question from me, guys. And I'll start with Faith. I'll start with yourself. Prediction for the fight?
Prediction? I won't be cocky with it and say anything about a knockout, but I will say that knockout bonus would be really awesome. But I predict that I will take home the dub, just because you know, hard work. You can't walk around hard work and time and dedication. So that's why I'm so confident.
It's all about bringing home the dub. Elle, over to yourself. Your prediction for fight night?
Yeah, I think it will go the full 3 rounds. I can't imagine either one of us getting knocked out, to be honest. But I have faith in my team. I have the best corner in, I don't know, this sounds big-headed, but the whole of like crossover boxing, like my corner is absolutely insane. Mark Tibbs and Ebanie Bridges is just, you know, listening to them, I have full faith in myself. So yeah, no, I think I'm going to win on points.